My friends, behind the scenes, right there, I have something early and awesome and the most exciting way of sharing it with you. The video will honestly be like any other, so I guess get your guesses in the comments down below because I absolutely cannot spoil a thing. My lips are sealed, but in the meantime, good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Welcome to your daily dose of Nintendo news, done with a smile and a smattering of interesting observations. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the show. It does help out the channel. And if you want to be extra cool, feed your Switch the best memory card on the market. The Lexar Play card is absolutely fantastic. It's fast, it's safe, and it stores a ton, with sizes up to 1 full terabyte of storage to make sure that every game is locked in this tiny little geometric rectangle. All right, every time you click the link in the description down below, it helps support the channel, and I super appreciate it. So that is the Lexar Play card, and this is your Nintendo Switch news. First off, something very interesting was just announced, and that Nintendo is going to be airing the Super Mario Bros. Movie in Japanese in select cities. Now, if you're not lucky to be in a big city, West Coast, you probably can't see it, but I did think this was kind of a nifty way to give us something different and also appeal to the Japanese-speaking Nintendo fans that do reside here in America. Pretty cool. And I think with this movie's success, you're going to maybe even see it brought back in like a sing-along version. No, it won't do that, but it could come back for like the holidays since it was such a spring release. It is insanely popular, crossing 1 billion, but we'll probably lay low on the movie topics for a while now. I know that we've covered quite a bit of them. Instead, I want to take you to a new handheld. This is not the Switch 2 news that sort of headlines the video, but it is very interesting nonetheless. The Steam Deck is very popular. It sells very well. It's a pretty darn cool machine. It's obviously stronger than the Switch, but what about something even stronger than the Steam Deck that has a little more like alien flair? I feel like Asus is going for like a little bit of an Alienware PC case with their ROG Ally, and this is a very powerful handheld. Okay, this thing is like rumored to cost $1,000. It has an AMD Ryzen Z1 CPU, AMD RDNA 3 graphics. It has a 1080p 120Hz display, 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 memory, 512 gigabyte PCIe 4.0 SSD, and we just had a big leak today, which is that it's out May 11th. That is very soon. That is like 2.5 weeks away, the day before Zelda. Tell me that's not intentional. Well, if anything, it's probably a mistake because they say that this thing is going to be hefty in price. Apparently, Asus has promised that it will be 200% below $1,000. They are 200% guaranteeing it'll be under $1,000. Well, that's not the greatest guarantee because the Switch comes in at, $300, $350 if you want the OLED, $360 if you want the Zelda Switch OLED. Steam Deck can be had for about $400. Yes, there is a $650 version, but I don't recommend that one to anyone. So if this thing doesn't come in around like $500, I think it's too expensive. Now, what's interesting here is it's coming with 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate, meaning they're kind of like pairing with Microsoft to have this be the device that you play Redfall and Starfield and Halo Infinite and whatever else games come to Xbox Game Pass and are playable via that service. Not as big of a library as Steam, not as much flexibility as Steam, but it does seem like because this is basically a portable PC, you will be able to work beyond the lines and add in quite a few other ways to get games and ways to play games. I gotta say, I'm kind of obsessed with all of these handhelds since the Switch, and I want to play them all, but $800, $750, $900, it's just way too expensive to justify. And I think you guys would agree, right? Like, that is just too much money. The thought of a $400 Switch is a pretty high price tag, but in comparison to like a Steam Deck, that's totally fair. And in comparison to a Switch OLED, that seems like natural progression. Charging like $700, $800, $900 for this Asus Ally, even though it looks pretty cool, even though it looks like it does have nice controls, even though it does look like the triggers kind of look like they're in a pretty cool spot. And I do like the idea of having Game Pass built in so that you're able to just grab those games. Redfall's out May 2nd. That would be a great way to play it if it runs perfectly. And it seems to have the power to do so. But power and price kind of have to coexist peacefully. And in this case, I don't believe they do. But let me know if any of you have the free cash to splurge on May 11th. This thing is coming out hot, coming out fast, and another competitor in the interesting, like, portable, play really good game space. Now then, let's talk Switch 2, Nintendo's new powerful portable console that we we don't know the exact details on, but we do know it's coming. A new job listing has us very, very curious because this job listing mentions some things that have been major points of contention for the Switch 2 discussion. I mean, anytime we talk about this system, there is controversy, but specifically in terms of, is it a Switch Pro? Is it a Switch 2? Is it a full new generation? Is it a half step? How does Nintendo reconcile 130, 140 million Switches? Is there backwards compatibility? At the end of the day, like, that's the way to boil it down. Is there backwards compatibility? Will these systems share games? And we have probably the most official evidence yet that it will. This job listing is for a game technologies R&D engineer scientist at Nintendo, and they are saying the responsibilities will be specifically focusing on game engine architecture, network programming, cross-platform development. Cross-platform development. They also say the goal will be to aim and go beyond state-of-the-art solutions in these fields, targeting current and next-generation Nintendo platforms. I mean, the surprise here isn't that they're working on one. We know R&D is always on to the next thing, but they're using next-generation Nintendo platforms and cross-platform development basically in the exact same paragraph, talking about hiring a position that will be responsible for these things. That, to me, seems very, very promising. And if you're someone that wants your library to carry over or don't want to be left in the dust when the Switch 2 comes out, you got to be all thumbs up. Now, I will point out there's a caveat here, which is that this job is in Paris. Okay, this job is in Paris, France, at Nintendo European Research and Development, NERD. Now, NERD is responsible for much of the Switch Online emulation, and there is some suspicion that perhaps the cross-platform development they're talking about is making sure that the N64, the Game Boy Advance, the Super Nintendo, yada yada, all those emulators and software can work on the next Switch, on the Switch Pro and the Switch 2. There is a chance that this might be referring to cross-platform development and next-gen platform development of Nintendo Switch Online, as we know that Nintendo does want to continue NSO to its new console. We don't know the answer for sure, and we have no way of knowing specifically. Nintendo will not call it out. They're not going to announce, but I do just hold on to cross-platform development and next-generation Nintendo platforms. You know, my personal belief is that this system will absolutely be cross-platform. Some people are going to be against that because they want Nintendo to push as far as they can. Most people are going to be for it because it allows the libraries to coexist peacefully, it allows Nintendo to hold on to their huge Switch install base, and it allows you, the gamer, the consumer, to pick if you think it's worth getting a new Switch, and if not, you're still in on the library. Look, I think eventually there will be some exclusive Switch 2 games, but at the start, I am fully confident, this job offer or not, that there will be cross-platform play. It would be absolutely goofy if they didn't, and we see every other platform holder adopting this more amorphous model where you have an amoeba of a console that stretches and pulls in different directions, and even if it negatively impacts development, well, it sure positively impacts sales. As I mentioned, the PS5 and Xbox Series X are just now really starting to do next-gen exclusives, and we've been around for 3 years, like nearly half a generation. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. And look, there is a good chance that this is a nerd job. They work on NSO, and maybe this person is just going to be plug and play right into Switch 2 NSO development. If that's the case, it's still good news because getting all of that working properly on the new Switch and everything carry over, and not trying to start some new system, and just ensuring that, hey, what we've subscribed to, what we're happy with now, what we've gotten, and gotten to a pretty good point where we like the library, is going to continue. But there is also a chance that you would be helping on more than just NSO, and having to know cross-platform development would be important in making things work and coalesce peacefully on both devices. And the more things that move from device to device, the more likely it is that it's backwards compatible. I mean, barring some major media shift to like a big fat cart, you know, like if they were like, hey, we're gonna go with chunky cartridges this time, right? We're gonna then other than that, it should be a pretty good time to play your games back on Switch and eventually on Switch 2. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you feel like this is talking about cross-platform for our games, like, you know, Tears of the Kingdom and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Or do you think this is talking about cross-platform more from, like, NSO standpoint? I think both could be valid, and maybe both, like, at the same time could be valid. So give me your thoughts in the comments down below, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.